Welcome to Richard Suttmeyer's 4 in 4. 4 blips on my radar screen presented in 4 minutes or less. Today I discuss the pending recession. My first blip shows that the Federal Reserve is worried about the conclusion I made in a 9:50 a.m. interview on Business News Network yesterday. In this TV interview I said the so-called second half recovery ain't gonna happen. The minutes of the March 18th FOMC meeting included a similar concern about a prolonged and severe economic downturn. A year ago, the regulators told us that there would be no contagion from the subprime fallout. In my writings, I strongly disagreed. In fact, I predicted many of the woes we see today beginning 2 years ago. My second blip summarizes my conclusions from the Fed minutes. Assume that the second quarter GDP contracts by 2% and that the tax rebate gives the GDP a 1.5% bump in Q3 as per the president's comments. That means that third quarter GDP will still be negative, and this would confirm a recession. The FOMC is not expecting any follow-through in Q4, which makes me worry more about 2009. With a new president and unknown economic policy, the prediction I made on March 1st, 2007 is starting to look good. On March 1st, 2007, I wrote, I do not believe that the economic drag from housing and real estate can end without at least 2 quarters in a row of negative GDP growth. I would not be surprised if GDP in current dollars is lower in 2009 than in 2008, and that has happened very infrequently. 1929 to 1933, 1945 to 1946, and 1948-1949. So most of us have not seen this in our lifetime. My third blip is my interpretation that the Fed appears scared and is afraid to use the R word. The FOMC tells us that the contraction in home building intensified, consumer spending appeared to be weakening, and survey measures of both consumer and business sentiment were at depressed levels. Industrial production fell in February, and private payroll employment posted a third consecutive monthly decline. Labor demand softened markedly in recent months. In sum, the contagion is indeed spreading. The recently enacted fiscal stimulus package is expected to boost GDP in the second half of 2008, but that effect is expected to unwind in 2009. The prediction that the tax rebates would add 500,000 jobs to the U.S. economy seems off the table. Recent employment data showed us that the labor force lost 500,000 jobs before the ink was dry from the president's signature on that touted fiscal stimulus bill. My fourth blip reiterates my opinion that the Federal Reserve caused the housing bubble. Team Greenspan and Bernanke should not have lowered the federal funds rate below 3% in late 2001, pushing the funds rate all the way down to 1% in June 2003 and leaving it there for a full year, provided the financial fuel for speculation by home builders, community and regional banks, Wall Street, commodity speculators, and global investors. I have been warning and writing about the perils of the housing bubble for 2 years now, and the idea that the worst is over is not prudent thinking. Bernanke pulled the rate too high, too long, knowing that financial stress was beginning as early as mid-2005. Opening the discount window at the Federal Reserve may have slowed the bleeding on Wall Street, but Main Street still hemorrhages as many banks, particularly community banks, will fail right through 2009. Send your comments and questions to support at rightsideadvisors.com. That's today's 4 in 4. Enjoy your day.